I6, someone want to give me their equation they came up with for number 6. So I6, your equation number 6. Most of you I saw had a negative slope, right? When I looked at a lot of your equations, I saw with your numbers that you had something like a line going something like this, right? Does that look right for most of you on I6? Yeah. Someone want to give me their equation. Y equaled what? Yes, Lil.
Y equaled negative 7.5 x plus 12.
Plus 12. So then it says, well, what does this negative 0.75 slope mean? And in the context of this problem. So I should have been talking about my distance here, right, in feet, and this was the number of hits on the dartboard. Question 8 says, oh, what if you're standing 6 feet away? Is that the x or the y? That's the x. So what I need to see is when x equals 6, and then it says, use your equation. And this is where there was a bunch of you. I walked around and I said, you know, it's really great you got an answer, and you could look at that graph and you could go up and find that, but you have to look at on the test, you have to use the equation. So her equation was 0.75 x plus 12. What that means for me is I should see that instead of this x right here, she should put in 6, right? So on her calculator, she's going to tell me what y equals. She's going to multiply this and say that's how many hits they get. Because I can see they use their equation. Not just that you looked up at the graph, right? The next thing, and if your equation wasn't exactly the same as the one that Lily gave us, this next question says, well, now they have 4 hits. That's when y equals 4. So now I go to that equation, y equals negative 0.75 x plus 12. And this time when I look at that, I'm going to put 4 equals negative 0.75 x plus 12. And when I look at your work on the test, I'm going to look at, oh, you subtracted 12 first from both sides. And you got negative 8 was equal to negative 0.75x. And to solve, you divided both sides by negative 0.75. And if I don't see this work on 8 and 9 on the test, you get 1 point out of the 4 for the question. That's a 25%. That's not passing the test if you do that. You have to do this type of a question 3 or 4 times. Why? Because it applies everything that we've been doing all year. It goes into your equations, which variable you substitute, and understanding which one you're doing. Okay? So that is going to kind of be key. So you guys should have started on, while I was checking homework, on I14, number 1. As you look at questions 6 through, on your review, as you look at questions 6 and 7, do you think in question 6 to find at 6, we look at that scatter plot at 6 hours, do I need to write an equation? No. What am I going to do on the review for number 6? What do I need to do at 6 hours? We're going to go up from 6, right? And find that it is about which one of these choices? You should have your review. Have the review and then your notes. But have your review. Which number makes the most sense? The 37? Probably 55, right? And I would be able to see the reason you chose 55 was that it was less than 60, right? So 45 doesn't make sense because it's too small, and 63. And so you will see questions like this on your tests, okay? As you take a look at this one, as you are doing this one, again, write the equation and make your predictions. When I look back at this question here, you need to use your equation. There was a bunch of you that when I came around had only an answer. And you're like, yeah, I know how to do it. I put it in my calculator. If you don't show me, I can't give you credit for it. Because you could have just looked at the graph, and I need you to show your work for that. Okay? So, this part, please take a look at questions 10 through 13. This is where you have to tell me. It was strong or weak, linear or nonlinear, positive or negative, There's a cluster or an outlier. You want to write down as many things, and please check your work in the back as you're looking at these answers. So what specifically is on the test? These last few questions, as you look through 20, so you have making the two-way tables, working on those type of questions, and is Wednesday of next week. There are 11 questions with 64 points. Okay, so this is right in the back of your notes. Someone said, I wrote this in where it said final. Well, then change your test I to the other side, right? There's one spot that said this is what's on your test, one side that said what's on your final. So, 11 questions. The first 9 questions, 46 points. That's like way over half that test, right? 46 out of 64. That's like 2/3 of your test. What is that going to be doing? The reason I wanted you to start on those questions today with the constructing your scatter plots and looking at those, because those are going to be the type of questions that you are going to see on your test. You are going to have to construct and interpret scatter plots. For bivariate data, you're going to have to draw the trend line and make a prediction. And you must use your equation. So I believe you either have to make 1 or 2 scatter plots. I think I might give you a scatter plot so you don't have to do a lot of time plotting. And then the other one, I ask you to make one. So there's going to be one there that already has a scatter plot, all the points. You just have to draw the line of best fit. The other one, you're going to make the scatter plot. You're going to draw your line. You're going to come up with your equation. Once you have your equation, I'm going to say something like in that last one in your homework that you're working on I6. Oh, how do you find the how many feet you are away if you get this many hits? So if you know the y, if you know what number y equals, find the x value. Then I might say, well, now find the y value. Like, how many hits do you get if you are 10 feet away? And you're going to tell me the x value. Okay? So you're going to be asked to find both of those, and it is key that you use your equation. Like 4 points per question on that. So if you do it in your homework in I6, most of you will probably do it on a test. If you don't do it in your homework, a lot of times you do it the same way on the test. And if you're just looking at the answers or you're putting stuff down and not checking, make sure you're checking those. The other thing is I'm going to ask you, like we were just talking about, tell me, is it strong or weak? Positive or negative? Linear, nonlinear? It cannot be both strong and weak. It's either one or the other. It's just really close to a curved line or really close to a straight line, or it's kind of spread out. Positive or negative? It goes up or it goes down. It either makes a straight line or it's a curved line. There's a cluster or there's an outlier. Okay, so that's the first 9 questions. It's like a 3-page test. Then the last part on the test, there are 2 questions. And as we look at those last 2 questions, the last 2 questions as we look at are going to be on interpreting. And you're going to be asked to interpret. So if I am looking at it, construct and interpret the two-way tables. That's what that big project was for. Construct and interpret your two-way table. There's going to be 2 questions. One is worth 10 points, one is worth 8 points. I'm going to say make the two-way table and calculate your relative frequency. There's one that's going to be like that story problem. There's a couple of you that I just don't like reading through this and I'm not sure where to put it. Practice those over and over again. It would be nice if I could say, well, yeah, just look at it once and it'll come to you. For some of you, that is the case, and for others of you, you need to practice it over and over and over. So I will give you like 4 of the different values in that two-way table, and I'll ask you to calculate everything else. So when you think about the ones that are on the review, I ask you to make a two-way table, and then sometimes I give you a couple numbers in it and ask you to fill it in. The last thing you have to do is calculate relative frequencies. When you're calculating those relative frequencies, When we are calculating with relative frequencies, oh man, you might be asked to do it by the total, by the row, or by the column. And again, those are going to be where you get all your points. So there's going to be, like, I think there's like 4 questions kind of on this part. It's like the second question, but there's like 4 parts to it. It's like A, B, C, D, when you are taking a look at that. So just make sure as you look at those that that's making sense to you, okay? So what am I talking about for this part? That's the two-way tables. Make row relative frequency in question 14. This one just says summarize your activities. Number 17, I give you some of the data in 17, but if we are looking at 17, you have to fill in the missing ones, so it might be something like that on the test. Or you might see something like this, where I put swimming, no swimming, and canoeing, no canoeing, and I give you the story and ask you to fill it in. Then I might ask you to make some statements about it, like what is the relative frequency about this, or what do you notice, okay? So that's what is going to be on your test as you write it.